YouTube, what is going on? It is Jax here back to another video, and today we're going to be doing the number 2 episode of my serious ladder push using P.E.K.K.A Ram Rider. So this is a very similar deck to the first one, which was P.E.K.K.A Bridge Spam, but I'm going to go over a few of the replays from my push yesterday. So the first game here is going to be against this guy running basically a mirror matchup, except he's Fisherman for Ram Rider, which makes it easier in some ways, because I mean, Fisherman, you actually don't have to worry about an actual win condition. He's just using a Fisherman, which is in a win condition, but it also makes it more difficult because Fisherman can just yoink all of your units over there. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking at the moment. Fisherman can just yoink all of your units over to wherever they place it. So he goes in for a Bandit to counter my Dark Prince, which I used on the Bar Barrel. So I go for a Bandit in front so that the Bandit takes my Dark Prince's charge, and my Bandit is the one that takes out the Bandit's like invincible dash effect, canceling dashes. So here, I don't want to waste my Ewas because I'm pretty sure at this point it's going to be a mirror matchup. So I would much rather use my Ram Rider here to snare that Dark Prince and force out the P.E.K.K.A. or the Ewas of his own so that I can maybe build up a big P.E.K.K.A push. But I don't have my P.E.K.K.A in cycle yet. So we just go in for our Ewas all the way in the back. And that's going to allow me to fight really close to my tower, which is good. And as I say close, I play a P.E.K.K.A up high. But our P.E.K.K.A still has 4 hits of HP. P.E.K.K.A's like usually take like 5 hits or so to kill each other. So our P.E.K.K.A only took 1 hit, which is why I say 4 hits of HP. And then it goes and kills off the Fisherman. Mother Witch is still going to be alive, but I just go ahead and let her live because honestly it's not worth fireballing. If he just went like Dark Prince Bandit there with all the elixir he has, it would be kind of difficult to defend. So I just go in for my Dark Prince. And then I scare him here by going in for a Bar Barrel. It's going to prevent his Bandit from doing the dash again, and we're just controlling tempo of the match. We force out the Ewas here, and then I'm going to play my own Bandit, and I could have played something else, but I didn't want to play a Ram Rider to change the interaction to overkill it, because I would just go straight into a P.E.K.K.A. So I don't play anything else. We just let the Bandit get the nice trade, and we're about even on elixir. However, my cycle's kind of awkward, so I go Ram Rider to punish him, thinking that he didn't have a Fisherman in cycle. I was incorrect, so that's not good. We do get a couple snares on top of the Fisherman, and we get one on top of the P.E.K.K.A, meaning that I can actually go in for a Mother Witch here because the Fisherman is going to be in front, which is really good for us here. So I go for a Dark Prince, and then I go in for a Fireball here, turning the Fisherman into a Mother Witch Piggy, and making sure that it's not going to pull anything with the P.E.K.K.A. We go for a P.E.K.K.A of our own to counter the Dark Prince, go for a Barbarian Barrel, and we actually managed to defend this, and P.E.K.K.A is going to go ahead and kill the Bandit. We have no damage taken, and we're not actually down too much elixir because he's going to have a really big win condition to punish us. Mother Witch gets 2 piggies out of that, which is a nice interaction for him, and he's going to be up some elixir. My cycle, again, is really weird because I had to wait a bunch to play a P.E.K.K.A, so I just go with a high Mother Witch of my own, turn his Mother Witch into a piggy, and try and set my cycle a little bit. So we're going to go for a P.E.K.K.A here pretty quickly, I think. I go, and I'm just going to let this Ewas die. My intention here is to get a bunch of Fireball value, because look at how much this is stacking up for me. He goes in for the Mother Witch, and now let's check this out. Give me that Fireball. All day, we're able to go ahead and just kill his Fisherman with our own Bar Barrel, and that's such a big Fireball right there. P.E.K.K.A's going to be able to live, and then a simple Mother Witch Ram Rider combo is going to kill most of that P.E.K.K.A and offer me some nice counter push. So what could have been scary is not going to be scary because he really didn't have any good support for it. And then we're able to just go, and I'm hovering Fireball, but I'm not actually going to use it. We're able to just go and let the Dark Prince kill the Bandit, and then I go in for my own Bandit on top of his Ewas. We get 2 piggies out of that, but the Fisherman is alive to counter them. So I go in just for a Fireball on top of the Mother Witch to fix my cycle and to make sure I'm not bleeding too much elixir. Now I can go in for a P.E.K.K.A because his P.E.K.K.A is actually really far back. I go in for kind of a bad Bar Barrel, so I'm going to have to Ewas there just so I don't take too much damage. This is all about a game of damage now. If it gets into this far into overtime, neither player is probably going to outright break through and win. So you want to be trying to be as damage conscientious as you can. We're able to defend his P.E.K.K.A. He's not able to support it because of how far his P.E.K.K.A got onto my side. I wait and Fireball just to make sure I hit the Dark Prince too. Dark Prince is now dead. Fisherman gets a little bit of damage, but I can take that. We have 1 Mother Witch Piggy, and we also have a big elixir lead. So since he goes for the Ewas there, I go for my P.E.K.K.A in the same lane. This is a bad P.E.K.K.A on his end because the Ewas is going to go in front, and boy, as an Ewas P.E.K.K.A player, I know how much that Ewas likes to go in front, and now he's basically screwed himself. Because look at this counter push. Even if he fireballs the Mother Witch, which he fails to do, he's just not breaking through. So we go in for a Ram Rider in the left lane. We're going to be splitting up the push because the P.E.K.K.A Mother Witch in the left lane is enough to really threaten him. So I go in for an Ewas here. We're going to try and just overload. We get on the P.E.K.K.A Ram Runner. I kind of whiffed my Fireball on the Mother Witch. However, something killed it anyway. I think my Mother Witch and Ewiz killed it anyway. We're able to go ahead and have the P.E.K.K.A kill off the Ewiz. We get a Piggy out of it, and we get a Piggy out of the Dark Prince because the P.E.K.K.A was not being targeted even though it was a 0 HP. Outright win right there. And I said it wasn't really going to happen, but this guy made a huge mistake going in for that push. And then on top of that, he whiffed the Fireball, which is just big no-no when it comes to this kind of thing. So our next match here is against Sebastian playing Graveyard. So Graveyard could be a difficult matchup but you'll see this guy made quite a bit of mistakes. I played Graveyard, like I played this game well, and I played it how you want to play it, but it could be a little bit harder for you guys if your opponent plays a bit better than mine did here. So we go for a Barbell on the cage to try and kill it. We get 3 hits, go for a Bandit in the back, and he takes his elixir advantage and runs with it. He's going all in right off the bat. So sorry about my phone lagging there, but I go in for a Dark Prince. We're just going to stop the cage and the Barbell from doing anything. And then Mother Witch is going to spawn out a few piggies, and Tower kills everything. We take a couple hundred damage, and he's very broke. So we go in for a Ram Rider immediately in the opposite lane, knowing he's really low. Unfortunately, we aren't able to break through the Knight, which would have been great, but we're able to kill it. And then he whiffs his Tornado, and we get, let's see, we get like 1,300 damage right there for free, pretty much. So we are still up 2 elixirs, so I just immediately go in for the Barbell, trying to force out an even trade. And now I know he doesn't have anything in cycle to really stop the Bandit other than a cage, which is really awkward for him because he wants to use that cage for my Ram Rider. It's like his only reset. So we're able to get out of his cage, and now we can go in for the Dark Prince to counter it. And he's still going to have to respond to my Dark Prince, meaning that I'm going to be up some elixir soon, even though I'm down like 1 right here, which is negligible in this matchup at the moment because he really can't punish me with 1 elixir as a lead. So he goes in for a Barbell, and that's still not enough. And so now he's got a Knight, and no, he just actually takes a Dark Prince hit. So if he had Knighted, I would have P.E.K.Ka'd towards the Knight, but since he didn't Knight, I'm just going to hover for a little bit. I go in for a P.E.K.K.A, thinking I was up some more elixir, and instead of going all in on the punish here, he just goes for the Graveyard, and then he goes in for a Fireball on top of the Mother. Actually, no, he doesn't. He plays his Bomber. So I was waiting. Since he plays the Bomber, we're able to just go in and literally play an Ewiz on top of the Baby Dragon and the Bomber. And the Mother Witch is spawning out infinite piggies, and he's at 5 elixir. Look at that. I have 4 piggies and Ewiz on Mother Witch and a P.E.K.K.A on the map, and he was at like 5 elixir. Going for the Bandit, we're going to have the Barbell kill the Ewiz, unfortunately, but it's going to turn into another piggy. And so, looking like we're going to take a tower here, I go in for left lane because it has the Mother Witch to support, and he nados my P.E.K.K.A to his tower. So I go in for an immediate Dark Prince to punish because he's got a lot to worry about here. Mother Witch does not lock onto the King Tower. It locks onto the Goblin Brawler, but we're able to go in for a Barbell. And then I go in for an Ewiz as well. And I kind of go for another Mother Witch. It wasn't good. I gave him so much Fireball value here. However, we're going to get a bunch of damage on this King. The Ewiz is doing some nice work as well, the Barbell. So I go in for a Bandit on top of the Bomber. He goes in for a Cage, and I thought that Bandit was actually going to continue to dash to the King, but she doesn't. The Cage is going to be there, and that's going to be a nice defense. Our tower's at 300. However, even if he manages to take it, his King Tower is at 700. So I go in for a Barbell thinking that with the Ram Rider, which is really good against Graveyard, by the way, because she offers a really nice counter push after helping. I thought with Barbell, Dark Prince, and Ram Rider, we could actually go ahead and defend, but we weren't able to. So I just go in for an Ewiz to assassinate the Baby Dragon, and then I go in for a nice P.E.K.K.A at the bridge. So P.E.K.K.A is going to go for the Bomber. Knight, unfortunately, does not retarget. However, he does pull everything towards him with the Tornado. P.E.K.K.A is going to actually get pulled back, but Bandit's going to do some work. And now I don't really have a way to support this. The Bomber's just going to kill everything that I play towards it. So I just go ahead and shut off his lane of attack. He's got to be attacking here. And if I play a Dark Prince or a Ram Rider, it's going to be much more difficult for him to do so. I go in for a Barbell to go for the King. We get 1 shot, and then he has the Tornado. It being tanked for by the Dark Prince was a really nice play by me. And so here, you can see he's got a big counter push coming at me, but he just used all of his ground units. He goes in for the Barbell. Now what does he have? He's got a Bomber, but he misplaces it, and Bandit dashes to the King. If he hadn't misplaced it, if he had gotten that Bomber down and the Knight down, I would have just fireballed his counter push, and there would have been nothing he could do. So we were able to recognize he didn't have a good cycle, and he makes a mistake, and we're able to 3-crown him. Very nice game right there. And then the final game here is going to be against Millard Hart Elsa? Or Esla. I couldn't see. I say Esla because even though that sounds stupid, like Esla, nobody's named Esla. One of my friends has a clan name called Esla Spammers, so Esla is it's in my head sometimes. So that was just why I said that, but it is Millard Elsa. Oh man, this is the content you guys come for. My brain is operating at peak capacity at the moment. So he goes in for a Mega Minion in the back to start off the game. We go for a Mother Witch here. knowing that the Mother Witch will do a really good job. He goes in for a lightning, which questionable play there. If I had to say so, we are able to go in for a Ram Rider to stop the Mega Minion, and unfortunately, he's gonna get a King Tower activation here. I really thought with how early he played that he was gonna whiff, and I really wish he had whiffed. Um, but we do hop into the damage lead with that. And we go in for a bar barrel just to make sure we're not bleeding and to get our game going a little bit more. He goes in for a really late bar barrel. And I go in for a Dark Prince, I think. Let's see. I'm waiting just a little bit. And I think I'm just going to let the I let the Barbarian go, and then he plays a Dark Prince of his own, so I go for a Dark Prince. No specific reason why I played it in the corner. I just played it in the corner. Maybe I was a little bit worried about him nadoing it to my tower. Actually, that was what it is. I was worried about him nadoing it to my tower, so I wanted to get up fast. However, he doesn't even have a nado in cycle. So, peak brain capacity Jax is still with us. Baby Dragon goes ahead and counters the Dark Prince. He doesn't lightning the Ewas, so he just goes in for a Mega Minion. And then I go in for a Mother Witch again. I was hoping he'd lightning, because look at this. He's only up a couple elixir, and he's still got to worry about the Ewas. So he does lightning the Mother Witch. And I go in for a Ram Rider, and we're going to make sure the Mega Minion does not target the Ewas. And then I go in for a Bandit. Unfortunately, the cage does a lot of work, and we're not able to break through even with the help of our Bar Barrel. And that I really believe you should have gotten punished a bit more, but that was a nice cage placement to group everything up, and then a bar barrel to kill it all. So props to him for defending. But I don't know. It makes me angry when people lightning cycle consistently for a negative trade and don't get punished, like even more than rocket cycle. And so I thought he was playing Golem, so I preempted his Golem here. He's not running Golem. And the reason I thought it was Golem is because he had a Mega Minion. E-Giant normally doesn't run a Mega Minion. This guy bleeds so much Elixir, though. I go for a low Mother Witch. We're going to turn this Dark Prince into a Piggy to get some damage. And then I Ram Rider to snare up his E-Giant. And he lightnings literally just a Ram Rider in the tower. So Ram Rider's going to continue to snare that E-Giant. She doesn't take any damage for some reason. Like, the first snare, she took some damage. The second one, she stopped taking damage from the E-Giant and just snared him. And she got zapped and her charge was reset. But she never took any damage. So I go in for a Bar Barrel here to tank for the Ewas. We're able to go in for a Ram Rider knowing he's very low on Elixir. Ram Rider's charging in, and Cage comes down at the absolute last second, but we're up quite a bit of Elixir now. So Cage is going to go ahead and swipe the Ram Rider. We don't get any damage, however. The Cage is now out of cycle. I go in for the Dark Prince to counter his Goblin Brawler, and then I go in for a Bandit as well. And now we're just going to overkill that Goblin Brawler to get some nice counter push. Now we have both of our units alive. However, one Dark Prince is going to counter it. And now I take this Fireball knowing that he was going to lightning my Mother Witch here. And he does lightning the Mother Witch, and we're still in the damage lead here, even though I think it should have been a little more. He does take the lightning, though, so we're up a bit of Elixir. Mega Man, you don't have to worry about it. I just cycle my Ewas. I go in for a Dark Prince in the left lane. I don't want to, like, scare him into committing all of his stuff in the right lane, because then he could just go plop an E-Giant in front, and that's going to be bad. So I start playing. I thought I played that Mother Witch in the other lane. I apparently did not. I go in for a Mother Witch to counter the Baby Dragon. She is going to eventually counter the Baby Dragon. However, he goes for the Lightning, and he does not have enough Elixir. I was in my head like, this is why this dummy shouldn't be Lightning. Sorry, Militar Elsa, if you're watching. But I was like, this is why this guy should not be Lightning a Mother Witch, because he could have just won the game if he had enough Elixir to E-Giant right there. So we just go for a Dark Prince in front of the Ewas. And I go for a high Mother Witch, and he goes in for a Dark Prince. Nice Dark Prince there, cutting everything in the middle. He just takes the lightning on top of the Mother Witch, and we're unable to kill his Baby Dragon, and also drags the Mega Minion back into the other lane. So I go in for a P.E.K.K.A, and then I think I just Ewas here. I let the Baby Dragon get one shot, so now he's really far in the lead, which is a problem, because his spell cycle capabilities are better than mine. So I was like, I'm probably not going to break through anymore. We're just going to see what happens here. Bandit opposite lane. We're going to start up a little bit of dual lane. Go for a Mother Witch. And then I don't Fireball quite yet. He goes in for the Lightning. Our Ram Rider's doing a decent job, but she's just getting splashed down. Go for an Ewas. We actually get a Piggy out of the Baby Dragon, and this is where the tide starts to turn a little bit. P.E.K.K.A.'s going in. P.E.K.K.A.'s doing a lot of work. He just used his Goblin Cage. We're able to go in for a Bandit. Now we're operating on dual lanes. Ram Rider's going to charge. He goes for a Dark Prince, and he counters the Bandit Ewas, but the Ram Rider's still on tower, snaring the Mega Minion, keeping it away. We're able to continue to spam. Now we're in the damage lead by 300 with 15 seconds left. If he lightnings, my Fireball still does enough. I go to pressure him. Double Ewases are there, killing that E-Giant, stunning it, making sure it's not getting to my tower. I go for a P.E.K.K.A just to make sure E-Giant is not going to die to the E-Giant stun. So that, or E-Wizard's not going to die to E-Giant stun, meaning that I'm not going to lose because the E-Giant or E-Wizard will continue to stun. So I BM him because I thought he played badly, and we take the win. And that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the replays with my Serious Ladder Push number 2, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.